The Witch class is really good at killing armors and supporting your team. So what does this class do? So just like most mages, it's really good at killing enemies who have high physical defense and low magic defense, or just dealing general damage. It can also freeze an enemy once per battle, unless you get more active points, which early on in the demo you can't really do too easily. So basically what it allows you to do is if you freeze an enemy, you can shut them down for the entire combat unless they get hit. So you can actually have your enemies or your allies prioritize other enemies so that the frozen enemy stays frozen and they will never unfreeze until the battle ends. So it's very useful for shutting things down. They also can boost allies' effectiveness in terms of damage. So let's look at the details. So this class is fragile, so it wants to be on the back line. It typically wants like a defender, like some kind of armor that can block. It does have 5 stamina if it's the party leader, and it does have low mobility. However, it does also have the magic assist ability. So if you are within range and you hit the Y button, at least on Switch, you can execute a magical assist, which does AoE damage at range. Now this costs 1 stamina, but if you are on a fort or you are garrisoned on any position, it will be free. And it's especially good on guard towers because you get scaled range and damage. Now this is a staff infantry caster, but that doesn't mean you can use every single type of staff. So for example, we go to Loadouts. We try to equip this Cleric's Cane. She is unable to use it. Now this would be a nice thing for her because it gives 1 more passive point for more magic conferral, which we'll go into in a second. But she can, however, equip this staff, which gives her Fire Burst for different elemental damage. Now I don't think elemental damage is a thing in this game, as far as I can tell it's not. But so let's go into skills. Alright, so Ice Bolt. Single attack with magic that freezes. Freeze lasts for the entire battle until the enemy is until they're struck or the debuff is removed from like another unit, which is fairly uncommon in the demo, but I'm sure later on enemies will be cleansing debuffs. But for now, freeze is just absolutely insane. And if you freeze something and you have allies attack other targets, that frozen enemy will stay frozen. Now, if you can just simply wipe out the enemy's squad, you're better off doing that, but it also can just, at the very least, delay an enemy or stop it from doing things at critical moments, which also allows other allies to kill that enemy. At level 10, you unlock Magic Missile, which attacks 2 enemies for less damage and also does not freeze. So kind of like a split attack. Both of these are ranged and can target the back line, which is very useful. Now, you can target the back line, but if there's something that can block or guard, typically it will absorb these attacks. But also, most of the things that block and guard are low magic defense and tend to die to these things. So it kind of works out in a way. But if there's just like a gladiator, you can target around that, for example. Magic Conferral. This is really good. It's a buff to an ally's attack that gives them magic potency. So it adds magic damage. It doesn't change the attack. It just gives you extra damage. So worst case scenario, you're getting extra magic damage on these attacks. So this is always useful. And then at level 15, which is quite difficult to hit within the demo because, you know, unless you're speedrunning this thing, hitting level 15 is probably not going to happen. You get Focus Sight. It makes allies' next attack a true strike, which means that it cannot be avoided. So it's really good at killing thieves and griffins. So this is a really good utility that can shut down and bunker bust, like get rid of, you know, enemy tanks that are in the way. It can boost your damage as well as convert another ally into a tank killer. It can convert an ally into a thief killer. It can multi-hit at level 10, like on the back line as well. It has Gravity for its first Valor skill. This puts like an AoE debuff that just reduces move, like mobility, by 90% for 15 seconds. So if an enemy is running through this thing, they'll move extremely slowly. So this is really good if you use it on like a choke point where a lot of enemies are trying to move through, because then they just can't get through. Now it is cheap. It's only 1 Valor point. But the big thing here, I would say, is teleport. Immediately warp to an allied unit or facility. So going to facilities, this includes like guard towers that you own and bridges that you cannot usually like deploy from. So just that is useful, but the fact that you can teleport to a unit is huge, because essentially you can have this like hold a position all game and just defend something you know, maybe it's magic assisting from a guard tower, and then you undeploy some units who are no longer needed or they're like about to die anyways, and then you get 2 Valor points. They can teleport with the ally pushing the boss, and now all of a sudden you have 2 groups that are ready to kill the boss. And if this is the party leader as well, you can magic assist on top of that. So this is actually huge value for a passive slot, or for a Valor skill slot. Now for loadout, this particular unit, I just have Leather Hood and the starting staff on Diana. Now, other things she could run that would be good. The Sorcerer's Medallion is good. It gives you more damage and some crit potential. Lucky Coin can be decent, but the evasion doesn't really matter. The crit would really be why you'd want it. Silk Hood can be good for just more straight, like flat damage. You could also run Lapis Pendant, which is very good for getting more magic conferrals. This will boost your damage. On the team comp I'm using right now, it's on my healer so that we have more healing, but I could actually switch this between them because they're on the same team, which is pretty nice. But overall, it's a glass cannon that can freeze for crowd control, kill enemy armors so that your team can get to the enemy squishy units and wipe them out. It can boost ally damage, and then long term, it eventually will allow you to hit through, you know, thief evasion. You can slow enemies down on the map, you can teleport. Both of these are based around mobility, reducing enemy mobility, increasing your own. And then of course, if it's the party leader, it can magic assist. So it's pretty big value class, similar to mage. And there's some early chapters where you really want mages, and especially ones that can kill tanks. And the witch itself can typically kill tanks, but it can also boost other allies so that they can also kill tanks. And then running Lapis Gem on this thing just makes your entire team really good at killing tanks. So if there's like 2 enemy, hoplites or something, having 2 magic conferrals will easily allow them to burst through it, especially plus the witch's ice bolt. But that's pretty much it for this one. Definitely subscribe if you enjoyed this or found this useful. Feel free to comment your witch tactics below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.